Hey, it's Ryan from UpfitSupply.com, and in this video we're going to be installing a Holman Composite Partition in our Ford Transit cargo van. Let's get started. All right, Holman does include an installation guide in the box. Make sure you grab this and reference this for the ultimate source of information. Of course, we're doing our best to follow this as well. Now, if you're going to be installing a window, you can add a window to this composite partition. You're going to want to do that before we begin the assembly portion, just because it's going to be a lot easier to cut that hole and put that window accessory on the partition itself. We're going to do that, and if you're interested in how that gets installed, this is going to be in a separate video, so check that out if you're interested, and then we'll pick up the rest of the installation from there. Now, before we bring this into the van, we actually want to connect our pieces together. So we have a top panel, a bottom panel, and then we're going to have this steel plate band that connects along the middle. All right, now the way that I'm going to assemble this is take our steel plate like this. Flange is going to be on the top or facing the top of the partition. I'm going to take our bottom panel and slide it over top of our middle piece, try and get our holes lined up as best we can. And then take our top panel and go over top of that. So essentially 3 layers, they all overlap. Then we're just going to take a carriage bolt, a washer, and a lock nut. Put the carriage bolt so that the little button head is facing inside the cab, so underneath here, and your nut is on the outside. I got a few of these lined up, no problem, but the plastic holes are just off a little bit. Holman does give you permission to drill those out with a 1/4-inch drill bit, but you want to go through the steel side and leave those steel holes the way they are. So these carriage bolts are a tad on the short end, so what I'm doing is actually attaching them without the washer first, tightening them down to give us that nice tight clamp on all of these locations, then I'm coming back through and putting the washers on. Next, we're going to put our lower mounting bracket on the bottom of the partition, and there are some little kind of nubs in the plastic on where this should line up, but they're not perfect, so I'm going to go ahead and mark these so I can drill these out, and then we can attach them with carriage bolts, washers, and lock nuts. Then a similar deal here where you want the soft part of the carriage bolt head on the inside of the cab. And we're just going to get these snug tight. We do want some movement in here. Next, we're going to prep the van. There's just a couple of things you need to remove if your van has these. First is going to be your D-rings or cargo rings. These are going to sit right here on the back of the B-pillar. Go ahead and remove these. You can reuse these later, so you can hang on to them, but we do need to remove them for the installation process. There's also going to be one here on the back of your B-pillar as well. And then some vans do have this little black granite panel that's right here on the B-pillar as well. You want to move that as well, and I believe you can reuse this also, so if you want to reinstall it after the partition is in place, you can do that as well. So now we're going to bring the partition into the van and line everything up. Now that we have the partition somewhat in place, we want to just index this and line up our holes on how we're going to attach this to our B-pillar. What you want to do is find the hole that lines up with the steel band that runs across here. And on the passenger side, there's going to be a pre-threaded location that this hole should line up with. And then over on the driver's side, there's probably going to be a hole there, but you may need to put a plus nut in place. And we want to line up these holes so we can index this and then mark our locations on where we need to either put in plus nuts or drill holes. Now, if your plastic holes do not line up perfectly with the steel band, you do have some liberty to expand these slightly. Now that the partition is indexed on the B-pillar, we're going to clear out these holes. There are dimples on where there should be some holes. We're going to clear these out with a drill bit and make sure everything lines up. Now on your passenger side here, there are some pre-threaded mounting locations, there should be 5 of them, that already exist in the van. You want to try and get these holes to line up with those. Looks like we're a little bit off from where those dimples were, so let's try and line these up as best I can with those factory mounting locations. Now with our holes lined up on the passenger side, now we need to take a Sharpie or some type of a device to mark our holes over here on the driver's side, because they're not pre-threaded locations and we may need to drill some holes. If a hole doesn't exist already, we're gonna go ahead and mark those with a Sharpie. So you only need to mark these locations right here on the side. There is one up here. You don't really need to mark because you're gonna be using a self-threading bolt in that location. Same thing for these locations up above. These are also gonna be attached using some self-threading bolts. Now we just need to move this out of the way so that we can get access to those holes over here on the driver's side and put in our plus nuts. Okay, looking at our locations over here on the driver's side, there's actually just 2 holes right here that we need to do a plus nut in ours. You may need more. Ours had a rib nut in one location and a clip nut in another one up here. So we just need to do these 2 holes with a plus nut. Now the plus nuts are included in the kit, but you're gonna need a plus nut installer tool. We sell these for like $8 on our website, upfitsupply.com. Just thread a plus nut on here like this, and then you're gonna have a little tool right here that's gonna keep the plus nut from spinning so that we can install it. And you just need a wrench to hold the tool from spinning, and then an impact or some other tool to drive this bolt in. And now we'll move the partition back in place. Like I mentioned, you can keep this grab handle here at the door. Next, we're going to attach the top of the partition to the B pillar. You're gonna get these self-threading bolts. There's gonna be a little bit longer ones and a little bit shorter ones. You want the 5 shorter ones for this location. And we can use those longer self-threading bolts here on these 2 locations. Corners. I'm gonna drill some pilot holes to help. And then finally, you can either reuse your existing D-rings attached to the lower bracket on either side, or you can use the provided hardware that they give you. It's really up to you if you want to retain the use of these rings or not. And that just about does it for the installation of this Holman partition here in our Ford Transit. Again, this is a mid-roof. They do make it for the high roof and the low roof as well. Installation is going to be similar, but a little bit different for those models. Now, if you're looking for this partition or any other equipment to get your van or truck ready for work, you've got what you need at upfitsupply.com. And my name is Ryan. Have a good one.